Have you ever been asked one of those really frustrating hypotheticals like, would you rather swim in a pool with a shark or with an alligator? Or would you rather be trapped in an elevator with a bunch of angry bees or in a jacuzzi with a school of jellyfish? That can be what it feels like when you're trying to decide whether or not you should leave a narcissistic abuser or stay for the sake of the children. You can feel like you're caught between a rock and a hard place. Like no matter which option you choose, you lose. So the goal of this video is not going to be to tell you whether you should leave or stay. It's going to be providing for you different perspectives and angles on this subject so that you feel more empowered and equipped to make this decision on your own. Please know that I am not a mental health professional. I am a professional life coach. If you need that type of service, please seek out appropriate help. So when it comes to making the decision of staying for the sake of the children with a narcissistic abuser, there's usually a few reasons why. You may be choosing to stay because you feel that you are protecting your children by staying. You feel that keeping the family intact, keeping both parents or caretakers or whatever the situation is together in the same household is what's best for everyone. You might be married to this person and you might not want to have to put your children through the pain of divorce. You might be wanting to keep a good relationship between your partner and your children, and you're afraid that if you decide to leave, that relationship between them will be broken. In your mind, it's better that they have something than nothing at all. And you might tell yourself, they're not abusing the children are still safe, they're only mistreating me, so if I just suck it up and hold out and wait until they're grown up, then they'll be established as adults, and then I can leave my abuser. And then they will have grown up in a household with both parents. When it comes to those points, I understand. It makes a lot of sense. There's nothing wrong with wanting to keep your family intact. And I believe that the heart behind that is good. However, I will provide some other perspectives just to give you a bigger picture of what could be going on. Many times, whenever you're dealing with these types of abuses, emotional, psychological, gaslighting, verbal, whenever you're dealing with narcissistic abuse, you think that you're able to hide it. You don't have the physical violence. You don't have the broken bones or bruises to show. So you might feel like you're able to protect your children, like they don't fully know what's going on. Or sometimes it's right out in the open and they do see what's going on, but they're holding it together because they've acclimated to it as their normal. At any rate, there are things that your kids are picking up on that you are not aware of. They might not even be able to verbalize or express it at this time. Sometimes it takes years. Sometimes some of those memories get buried down in order to protect themselves, and they might not resurface until years later. But the things that are happening between you and your partner or spouse, it is having an impact on the kids, whether you see it directly or not. When kids are growing up in this kind of home, they are learning to normalize this type of abuse. What they see, what they hear, what they experience, they will later project to be a normal way to have a household. They are learning to expect it, to accept it, because they don't really have another choice. They don't have an escape. And it's happening between two people that they care about. So these are going to be some points that might be very difficult to hear, but really, really important. So the first point that I want to bring in an alternative perspective is that it is teaching them that abuse is okay. It is also casting a very specific light in how they view you. If they are watching you be disrespected, belittled, demeaned, cursed at, screamed at, blamed for everything, criticized constantly, then they will learn that that's how you're supposed to be treated. If they have not been taught to value you and to respect you and to treat you well, but they see the opposite happening, then many times they follow in that pattern. And they may start following in the footsteps of their abusive parent. It also impacts the way that they will later have relationships in life. It can begin to normalize that type of behavior and treatment for how they expect to be treated by somebody and or how they expect to treat somebody else. This is so sad because it literally continues the cycle of abuse when this happens. Even if you're speaking to them on a regular basis about this topic and you're telling them that it's not okay to be treated this way and it's not okay what your partner is doing, but it's still happening, many times our experiences will trump what is being said. The way we interpret data is so much more powerfully received in actions than in words. So when they see this acted out in front of them on a regular basis, or they hear it behind closed doors, it's impacting them. They're receiving that. So it impacts the way they see you. It impacts the way they will see themselves in the future. And of course, it's not going to be a healthy bond between them and your abuser. Another really important point to note is that it directly impacts how you are as a parent in their lives. If you are being constantly depleted and destroyed and neglected, that's going to impact how much love and emotional energy and health that you have to give your children. You're not going to be able to be the best parent available when you're constantly getting beat down. So as hard as this may be to hear, staying does not equal protecting your children. I was speaking with a woman not long ago, and this is just one woman's story, but I know it's not isolated. She decided to stay with her narcissistic abuser throughout the duration of their marriage until their children were grown. She finally felt free to leave. She did. The only problem was that he had all those years to manipulate, love bomb, and win them over. So in the end, her relationship with her children was very strained, and some of them weren't even speaking to her. She was devastated, and she realized too late that staying for her kids did not protect her kids at all. This is just one story, and leaving doesn't immediately solve all of your problems. There's going to be difficulties on both sides. You might not be ready to up and leave this abuser, even though you want to. That might take time. And that's okay if you're making progress and strides towards that, to be doing what you need to equip yourself and your children for that big transition. So in making this decision, I know you don't take it lightly. I hope that this has helped to shed light so that you feel better equipped to make this decision, but please do not go through this process alone. Find community, support, educate yourself, and of course, you can always book a call with me as a life coach. I will not tell a person when it's time to leave their narcissist, and I explain why in a video that I give a lot more detail in. I'm going to leave that for you guys on the end screen. I want you to feel more empowered and equipped to make that decision, because I know it's very, very difficult. I'm Jamie Lynette with Jamie Lynette Coaching, in the spirit of educating yourself in order to make the best decisions for yourself and your kids. Let's move forward together.